Have I told you about the app that we're launching in May? It's an AI powered self discovery coach, and the feedback that we're getting has been crazy. Let me give you some. It literally felt like I was talking to a therapist. I loved it. Someone even shared an example of how they used it. So I told the app I don't like confrontation, and that's why I often don't know how to talk to others about how I feel because I don't like arguing. I loved how it literally walked me through how I can start a conversation without feeling like it was going to be a confrontation. Someone else. Love, love, love it. Congrats again. This is going to be great. It launches in May, and I couldn't be more hyped for you to use it. If you haven't already and you want to be the first one to be able to use this, sign up for the app launch waitlist, which is in the show notes, or you can visit our website at plural.com. I just saw a quote the other day that was like, yo, don't tell nobody about what you're building until it's live because haters gonna hate, right? El mal de ojo is like a popular thing in the community, but I don't believe in that. Like, I would rather tell the world what I'm working on so that it's almost like, yo, the world, community, and my people keep me accountable on the shit. I said I was gonna do this. I almost like feel bad if I don't deliver it to y'all because I told you I was gonna do it. Not only that, but by talking about it openly, it just opens up the conversation and it opens you up to opportunities that you wouldn't even have thought about before if you didn't start those conversations, if you didn't tell the world what you're working on. Whenever someone visits New York and I'm chilling with them, I always ask them, all right, give me your favorite, least favorite, most surprising thing about your experience about New York, about just like the trip that you've just had, you know? And I'm going to use that format to go through what has been quite a difficult few weeks. It's been a difficult few weeks mentally. And you probably know what I'm talking about. It is the Kickstarter that we launched a few weeks ago. So right now, I believe we're about 15% towards our goal of raising $50,000. And there are about 6 days left. Now, crazier things have happened in 6 days. Crazier things have happened in one day. Crazier things have happened in a couple hours. That said, I want to be realistic and say that I'm not gonna hit this goal. Like, let's just call it what it is. Let's be realistic and let's move on to plan B. Whether you want to launch a Kickstarter yourself, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you want to be an entrepreneur, I think everybody is going to take away some insights and they're going to learn from this episode. So forget who said this. Let's just say an OG. An OG once said, and I'm paraphrasing, and I'm fucking up this quote, but hear me out. An OG said, "Why learn from other people's mistakes?" No, fuck, already fucked that up, already messed that up. Okay, an OG once said, "Why learn from your own mistakes if you can learn from someone else's mistakes?" Okay, you feel me? Right? Like, don't do the same shit I just did. Learn from what I did and what happened and do it better next time. You feel me? Anyway, with those three things, I'm just gonna start with the low light. Let's go with the obvious, not hitting the goal. I said this in a previous episode. I haven't made a dollar this year, income wise, revenue, whatever you want to call it. Nothing. Zip zero. Stingy with the narrow. Might buy you Chris, but what about this Kickstarter? Right? Zero. So even in my revenue forecasting document that I put together early in the year, I was like, oh, like money's gonna come in. Like it's all good if you don't if you don't make money for a couple months, like, because it's going to come in right here at this point, right? Like right now, it's going to come in later in the year at this point, some other thing, right? And I don't know if you know how Kickstarter works, but you have to hit your goal to receive anything. So the amount raised, I think, was about $8,000, which is far off from the 50, but that would have been 8,000 more dollars that I would have gotten that I've made previously, that I've made all year, right? But I'm not going to get any of that because in order to receive anything, you have to meet your goal. So, yeah, that sucks. And I would say that's a low light. I would say that's a low light. That said, I've learned a lot of things throughout the process and throughout this experience that is worth sharing. It's worth talking openly about, and it's worth me learning from it for the next exam, for the next time I do this maybe, or just in the future in general, right? So one of the things I learned was, and this goes back to like a previous episode around, I don't think I've built a community. I think I have these separate audiences everywhere. And as much as it's cool to build an audience, it kind of defeats the purpose if you can't reach your audience. Hear me out. Let me give you an example, right? So I've got maybe 33,000 people on TikTok that follow me. Let's just use TikTok as an example. Let's say I want to reach these 33,000 people for free, right? The idea is like, oh, they follow me. Theoretically, like imagine you could just send everybody an email or something, right? And it was like, hey, 33,000 people that already follow me, already interested in what we offer. Hey, here's what we're doing. It doesn't work like that. Like on any platform, right? So these 33,000 people, every video that I post, they probably won't even see it because of how the TikTok algorithm is, right? Like the TikTok algorithm is there to show you ideally or in theory what you're most interested in, what is most going to resonate with you, blah blah blah, right? It's not what pops up in your feed is not necessarily who you follow unless you go into the like not the for you page but the people that you follow page, right? So maybe of something, but that's not the default. And a lot of algorithms are changing like that as well, right? So even on Instagram, if I post something to I don't know, 5,000 people that follow the account. Only a handful of people are ever going to see that. You know, it's the reason why a lot of people collect email addresses. They drive people to websites, to their website. They have a pop-up that says like sign up here and receive a discount or receive something, right? Some sort of exchange so that at least they have a direct way of reaching you for free, right? Because I think there are ways, paid advertisement, paid media wise, where you can target your following, right? But I'm saying for free, right? More cost effective ways, especially for people that, you know, don't necessarily have the budget. So that was interesting and frustrating, especially given I think how large across these different platforms of an audience that I have, right? So 33,000 on TikTok, let's say about 20,000 or 25,000 on LinkedIn, another 5 or 6 on Instagram, right? And I just needed so damn near what, like 70,000 people, and even podcast listeners, right? Like add them all up, like 70, 80,000 people maybe, right? Like I just needed before launching this, I was like, all right, I just need 1,000 people to give me $50 and then I'll hit my goal. That's how I thought about it, right? And I was like, all right, damn near like 80,000 people. I can get 1,000 of those people out of 80,000 to do this, right? And it's interesting when looking at the data, the average backing for the Kickstarter campaign was about like 70 to $80. So it was actually above what I thought people would give, right? 50. Just the volume wasn't there, right? About 100 people so far have backed the campaign. And I do think that, I mean, I'm not here to make excuses. This is just more of an insight, but I do think that if people were simply aware of the campaign, what we're launching, etc., I think it would have been different. So what would I have done next time? Maybe I would have done some paid ads to at least reach them. Like, I think that would have been helpful. That goes into the highlight though. And this is like a weird highlight, but because the Kickstarter was only for a month, it put this pressure on me. And I think it puts the pressure on everybody, right? When something is time sensitive, you're like, oh shit, well, I got 30 days to make this happen. Like, let me do whatever it takes to make this happen, right? So you start to do some things that you wouldn't necessarily do on a day-to-day basis. At least I don't, right? Like some things that are time consuming, let's say unscalable, and let's say manual, right? Like I went on Instagram to my personal page, so the biceps one, and I DM'd every single person that followed me. Every single person that followed me, I DM'd them. And I was like, yo, this is the Kickstarter. In case you didn't hear about it, this is what we're launching. This is what you get in exchange. Would really appreciate your support. I did that for every single person. And on the biceps one, maybe it's like, I don't know, 2,000 or so people. I didn't finish it for the plural account, for the plural account, but I'm still gonna do it. But when I did that, I did see a spike in people submitting things, or donating, or backing the campaign. So I did see a spike. And it was interesting too, because when I reached out to people, again, going back to the low light and the frustration around like reaching people, people didn't even like, people were like, oh, I didn't even know you were doing this. Like, thanks for sharing. Oh shit, this looks dope. Oh shit, this is cool as fuck. Oh shit, this will help me with this and that. Like, oh shit, I'm definitely supporting, right? Like, it's one of those things where it's just an awareness challenge. If people are aware of what you're building and you're building some dope shit, most likely people are going to support. Although a lot of people did say, they were just like, yo, I just got laid off. It's really rough out here, blah, blah, blah. And that really put things into perspective as well. That's not a highlight, obviously, but I'm just saying, I would say the highlight is me getting out of my comfort zone in many ways from the day-to-day stuff that I would typically do, right? Typically, I would just like post content and be like, the algorithm got your boy back. This is fire. It's going to distribute it to whoever needs to see this, right? And for these 30 days, I was like, man, fuck the algorithm. I'm taking control of my destiny in some ways, or I'm trying to take control of my destiny and the outcome of what this is going to look like after these 30 days. I'm not depending on the algorithm. Like it pushed me to do some of those things. And the really so the highlight for me coming out of all of these things, that sort of like stepping away from my comfort zone, I also created like a lot of type of content that I don't typically create. I spoke a lot more about the app. I posted a lot more content about the app. Again, just getting out of my day to day. The highlight for me because of this were opportunities that came out of it outside of the Kickstarter. So because I'm talking about the app more often, because I'm talking about raising money, because I'm talking about, partnerships and all these kind of things, opportunities came about that I never, not that I never thought about, but opportunities came about that I wasn't prioritizing at the moment, right? Like investors, friends, family were like, let me know when you're ready to raise money from an equity standpoint. I want to invest. I'm interested in investing. I'm interested in learning more. A lot of people, I'm not gonna say a lot of people, but a handful of people have shared interest in that. And like getting investors is something that I told myself I was going to do after the Kickstarter, right? Start having a lot more of those conversations. But it's interesting that by DMing people, you just start that dialogue sooner rather than later, right? And that's the interesting thing about building in public. I just saw a quote the other day that was like, yo, don't tell nobody about what you're building until it's live because haters gonna hate, right? El mal de ojo is like a popular thing in the community, but I don't believe in that. Like I would rather tell the world what I'm working on so that it's almost like, yo, the world, community, and my people keep me accountable on the shit. I said I was gonna do this. I almost like feel bad if I don't deliver it to y'all because I told you I was gonna do it. Not only that, but by talking about it openly, it just opens up the conversation and it opens you up to opportunities that you wouldn't even have thought about before if you didn't start those conversations, if you didn't tell the world what you're working on, right? Sure, are haters gonna hate? Maybe, probably, most likely, and we'll get into that in the most surprising. But I do think there's more good than harm when you build in public and you talk about what you're building openly and publicly. Speaking of haters, and I don't even know if I will classify this as a hater, but the most surprising thing happened while I was reaching out to people on Instagram. So on Instagram, on the not my personal page, but the business page, I reached out to this one woman. And this is again someone who follows the account. So my idea, my brain going into it was like, oh, you follow the account, you support us, you probably want to support this too because it's part of the mission, it's part of the brand, blah blah blah. I was like, so I sent this woman a DM and was like, hey, this is our Kickstarter. Just wanted to let you know in case you didn't hear about it. It ends on June 14th. Would love your support. Yo, she replied no. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, oh, like, haha, haha, no. Psych. Of course I'm gonna support, right? That's what I thought. So I was like, I replied, LOL, question mark, sarcasm, question mark. And she said, no, I don't. I'm paraphrasing, but essentially she was like, no, I don't support what you do, your cause, your mission, blah, blah, blah. Why do you follow us if you don't support our mission? If you don't support us, like I was mind blown by the idea that people would follow the journey, follow the company, the mission, maybe even like our videos and not like us, not support what we stand for. That was mind blowing to me. Maybe it's because like I wouldn't do something like that. Like I follow people that I want to see succeed. I follow people because I like something that they do, whether it's their personality, their work, maybe their looks. I mean, let's be real, right? Like, yeah, I got crushes out there, but yeah, like that was so mind blowing to me, and it made me think about like, damn, there are people out there who you think are supporting you, but really don't want to see you win. And it made me think about I don't know, let's call them 80,000 people that follow us. I'm like, huh, do I really know my audience? Do I really know the people that follow us? Like, do they want to see us win? But I'm going to chalk that up to this is just one person out of the thousands. I'm assuming that most people want to see us win because most people resonate with what we're talking about. Most people want to see us win because they've experienced what we're talking about and they have gotten over it and they want to help other people get over it. The imposter syndrome, the false mindset that you can't be yourself at work, the idea that you have to keep these things to yourself, whatever you're going through and experiencing. They want to redefine professionalism, not what it means, but the idea that society has created around it. I would think that the thousands or whatever amount of people that do follow us or know about us or have supported us before actually do want to see us succeed. I hope so, because we can't move forward without the support of y'all, of you. So lastly, gave you the highlight, the low light, and the most surprising about launching this Kickstarter, about running this Kickstarter. And you're probably thinking like, all right, well, the Kickstarter, let's say it's a failure. I'm fine with that. I'm fine. I don't mind failing. Like I said, I learned a lot from it. What is next? Well, if we don't hit our goal, you will, from what I read on the Kickstarter, you will not be charged. I don't receive any of the money, and we are moving forward with Plan B. So on the Kickstarter, what we were selling was essentially a pre-sale to the merch and the app. You're probably thinking, well, you're still gonna sell both, right? Yeah, we're still gonna sell both. The merch, we're gonna launch a campaign where we're gonna take photos, we're gonna take videos, we're gonna do a rollout for the merch. We're gonna do a campaign, and I got a lot of exciting ideas around who I want to include in the campaign and all of those things. And then the app is still launching. This was just a pre-sale where I was offering like heavily discounted rate for it. What I'm gonna do is everyone that did support the Kickstarter campaign, I'm gonna give them a free month. I'm gonna give everyone a code so that when we do launch the app, you have a free month as a thank you for supporting us. The merch will be on the website, the app will be in the app store, and you can support that way. Lastly, the app. I've been talking about this on Instagram, but we're still in a back and forth with Apple for Apple to approve the app and get it in the app store. I didn't think it was going to take this long to get it approved, but the more I talk to people, the more I find out that it's not just our app. Apparently, Apple is notoriously difficult to get into the app store. They're very particular, and they decline it. They decline access for like the most random of reasons, but we are working on it. And as soon as that baby goes live, you will get a free access code for a month if you support the Kickstarter. That is my free gift to you. Thank you. And we still got this, y'all. See you on the next episode.